we are again. What the hell is going on in Oregon?
I live here. I don't even know.
Who's from Oregon? He could give us the whole lowdown.
Okay.
Drink water.
This is like an ongoing thing in Oregon. This is not something, in one sense, it's not something new. It's new what the steps they're taking now, but this is happening, and I've heard it happening just around the United States, where they're taking away people's right to even have a garden in an urban setting. So this is like beyond political parties, beyond anything. I mean, you can't have a garden. Pretty much you're dependent on the government for everything. So they pick who gets to grow the food. Do they pick, like McDonald's, the farms they use? So you have to buy your food from McDonald's. Who gets to choose where the water goes? That's the question. And who gets to choose,
right,
who grows the food, who controls everything. And the government, I'll tell you what, and they did this, they were doing surveys a while back on water usage. And so they metered all the irrigation pipes and pumps. This is years ago, and they said, don't worry about it. Whenever they say don't worry about it, I had a friend who was a farmer in North Dakota years ago, and I think it was the EPA guys started coming by, and they said, hey, look, we want to do a survey on standing water on your property. And they said, don't worry about it. This doesn't affect you at all. This has nothing to do with you. This is just for our information. Well, shortly after that, and look, some control is good. I mean, you want to regulate things so everybody has fair usage. But when it comes down to control like this, where they're shutting people's livelihoods down, these are small organic farmers, a lot of them. I mean, they're providing food for people here in the valley that don't want to eat the large processed, manufactured food off these large processing plants. So anyway, it's starting to get kind of scary in a lot of ways. And they say there's, what they're saying? It's for the good of the good of the people. This is for the good of the people. Well, what people is it good for? Because it's not good for me. It's not good for the small farmer that you're shutting down. I get less ability to pick organic foods that are grown, except the ones that now who gets to pick what farms get to? Do you have to be bigger? I mean, it just defies logic. I mean, who's benefiting here from this? I mean, I haven't dug into it very much. I'm probably, it's kind of, it's upsetting. And I, just the sense of it's like, wow, what a power grab. And I understand water usage is a big deal. Populations are growing. Water usage is going to become a big deal. But okay, so who's going to decide
who gets the water?
Who gets the water? Who decides? Is it some government official that is untouchable? Some little guy in a bureaucratic with a badge that has a rule book, and he gets, and you can't touch that guy. The worst thing that can happen is he loses his job, but the public can't touch him because he's not an elected official. So who chooses how this goes down? I mean, it's really pretty spooky.
Yeah.
So I mean, go ahead.
There's a lot of issues similar to that going around, but that's specifically targeting farmers in your area. And it kind of reminiscent of when Stalin was the dictator over in the Soviet Union. That's what his policy was, for the good of the community. That's the Holodrome came in when they starved, 10 million people, farmers. Everything they grew had to go to the state. I mean, in a way, by regulating this stuff, I mean, you're almost going down that path by, well, who's going to get fed? Who's going to get water? Who gets water? So, it's a very serious issue as far as for farmers. And I think us being Americans, what we need to do, which we haven't been doing, is going back to the Constitution. Because in the Constitution, the Fifth Amendment, it says that the state cannot take personal property without due process. meaning you have to go in front of the state has to take you in front of a jury of your peers and rule on whether they can take your well. Because I heard they were like seizing people's wells if they dug a well because to control the water source
It's
or put a
possible.
meter on it
I don't
because it's
even. You
considered
probably know more
community
about it than I
property.
do. You know. So yeah,
Yeah,
pretty amazing.
I listened to somebody on YouTube. I have to dig it up, but he was saying that what they've started implementing is seizing people's wells because that's water that belongs to the community that they're accessing for personal use. And then there's also, well, what if you strike oil on your property or find gold? Does it go to the government? Does it go to people? No,
Yeah.
it goes to you because it's
Well,
part of
what's
our
kind of
personal
interesting is
possession.
the water. I mean, mineral rights. Is that the same as water rights? Are mineral rights the same thing? I mean, I don't know.
It is, yeah. You'd have to look more into mineral rights, water rights. There are rights, but you also have right to your property.
Right.
They cannot tell you you can't use something on your property unless it's hazardous. I mean, a nuclear warhead or something.
Chris,
But if
they've
it's just
gotten so
water
far
that's
around.
running through your property,
Yeah, they've gotten
I'm
so
just,
far around this now with regulations. I mean, technically, they
yeah.
can seize your property for forfeiture of for non-payment of property taxes. They can seize your property and take it if you don't pay
Well,
your
I think
property tax.
obviously it's a matter of taking these issues to your county, and
Yeah,
we need to start using the system in our favor again. Going to your commissioners, elected
yeah,
officials, start the
yeah.
protests. I don't know if you heard about Europe, but I watched a video this morning from yesterday, which would have been March 25th. In Belgium, the farmers, there's a big rebellion going on, a revolt against the government because they're doing the same thing to their farmers, restricting them and climate control and importing goods. So the farmers have been rebelling. And I guess the other day they brought in their manure trucks and were spraying the manure onto the police. And the police were spraying their water cannons at the manure that's being sprayed onto them to push. I mean, it's a war right in the capital city in Belgium. I mean, that's how serious the farmers there are getting. And then I saw pictures in Paris. They'd lined the streets like that, go to the Eiffel Tower with huge bales of hay all the way down
Oh
both
wow.
sides of the street. The farmers just coming in and dropping off these huge bales of hay. I mean,
Well, and that's the thing, these bureaucratic entities in these big cities that really don't have, they're disconnected from anything that is outside of the city. And so it's like to them, it's just like, hey, you're just some guy, you grow something out in some field somewhere. What's the big deal? Well, it's a big deal if you want to control who gets to control who grows what, who sells what, who gets what. I mean, really, they're going to start to look at it's just a ladder that they climb down to where they just start deciding this whole segment of the country isn't worth feeding anymore. And we go, oh, that's crazy. It's not crazy. It's not crazy. If they can decide who gets the water and who doesn't get to farm, who does, they may start deciding, why do we even need these people out in these locations? Best thing we do is get rid of them. That way we don't have to worry about the farmers or the who grows stuff.
especially farming, because, and well, the upside is they're saying, the government in Oregon is saying that, well, if you collect rainwater, you can use that however you want. That's free. So, they're regulating the rainwater.
Well, and we do get,
I
but
read that in one
only
of
in
the
certain
articles.
areas. It's only in certain. If you're in the valley, yes, valley and the coast, you do get a lot of rain, but then you have to
But
collect it.
that's a matter of collecting, and that's a lot of work to collect enough rainwater to. But and that's kind of with the Soruba Seed Treatment, it's specifically designed for drought resistant. So I mean, I'm not saying that's the answer, but until we
well,
can
you
get
got to
this
have water
fixed.
to. Well, the problem with Soruba Seed Treatment is not the issue of like what the government does, but if they're cutting off all your water, that pretty much negates
Well, that's
any
why we've
seed
got
treatment.
guns.
What's that? Yeah. The
I mean,
but
we're
the
the
crazy thing is, I mean, I feel like it's yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is a perfect opportunity for us to promote our products, and I think that's a great opportunity. I love a good opportunity, but this is really concerning because they're saying, yes, you can collect rainwater, but at the same token, what gives them the right to say we can or can't collect rainwater?
Yeah, they don't have, I don't believe they do. And I think constitutionally they don't, because the main purpose of a government, according to the Constitution, is to protect personal property, our property, not to tell us we can't use this, we can't use that, not to regulate our personal property. They need to protect it. So our government has gone off the track, has gone off the rails.
Yeah,
and that's the issue. I mean, not just Oregon, I'm talking about the whole nation. It's getting way out of hand. And, the people are going to respond accordingly. It may take us a little bit longer. Europe, they are responding. We have the numbers, I guess, and there's 3 guns. I'm not saying to use violence, but there's 3 guns per every U.S. citizen adult in this country. 750 million guns or something. So I mean, it's not it's kind of it's a levels of playing field as far as them just forcefully coming in and making you give up this or give up that at some point. I mean, that's what the revolution was about back in 1776. The rights were being, they didn't have rights to begin with. They want rights. So, and I think we're still fighting that revolution, still trying to.
I think it's a constant battle on an ideological level at this point, which is good. Crazy.
But hey, you never know what's going to happen with the water situation. Even if the government doesn't get involved, there could be times where there's not much rain, there's drought, legitimate concern, and that's why when I brought up the seed treatment that Soruba has, where the seed, if you treat your seeds with it, it's drought resistant, it's stress resistant, so the seeds don't need as much water. Hey, it's a little blurry, but I recognize that package.
Oh, here it is. Oh, there it is. Oh, baby. Oh, that's right. But, blurring it out. You got me on blur. There we go. It doesn't know what to do with that. Yeah. Soruba. The one product.
It treats the seeds and becomes stress resistant, more robust, higher yield. You don't have to use much fertilizer and as much water. So what's your words of wisdom to pass along to your fellow Oregonians?
Well, I think start contacting your local representatives and just say, hey,
start local.
There needs to be more of the legislative process, the executive and the legislative and the judiciary involved in this of our government, instead of just some bureaucratic decision that affects the lives of thousands of Oregonians. Actually affects us all, because we buy those products. We buy those organic vegetables. People are making their living. We're benefiting from it.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of these little markets popping up everywhere. People out, doing business. It builds community, builds a sense of identity on so many different levels. It's such a great thing. These small businesses. I'm getting so sick. And look, it's fine. I appreciate a lot of, going into Walmart, but they're just these big soulless boxes. It's like having to eat at McDonald's every day.
Yeah.
I get it. People like McDonald's. That's fair. But it's like, I like to eat food that tastes maybe a little different sometimes, So I think, we need to contact, it's like, hey, we're going to have to get out of our chairs, go down and start talking to people, go, what is going on? Or write letters or contact them by email, do something, because at a certain point, they may not be coming for all of us yet, but eventually they will, because they're going to be running out of targets. And that's a lot of it. They're going to start running out of targets, and all of a sudden they're going to start targeting the people that were, it's like, hey, this is a machine. It eats the community. Whatever starts consuming itself, keep on growing them veggies.
That's right.
I'm hungry.
All right, signature sign off.
Adios.
Please remember to read instructions before leaving Earth. Woo!
Woohoo!
Feels good. I'll be a rabble rouser.
Oh man, you're just government trained.